All right, and welcome to another edition of Weather and Climate Chat with Monsoon Mike Regensberger and Dr. Michael Davis. Dr. Davis, how are you today?
I'm doing okay for finals week.
Yeah, it is finals week, and we wish all of our students, and we also got to wish good luck to the faculty as well, too, because you guys are going to be very busy as well, too. Very busy times for all of you. So good luck to students and faculty as you work to get those tests done and get them graded. So,
Definitely.
And then you here during the summer a lot, Dr. Davis?
Yeah, I'll be here over the summer.
Good.
I'll be not teaching, but I'll be around.
All right, so
keeping us up to date on the weather for week to week.
So fear not, fans, legions of millions of fans that we have.
I wish.
Weather and climate chat will continue over the summer, maybe occasionally with a week off here or there, but we're generally going to keep the ball rolling, right?
Yes.
All right, and we also should mention too as we get into the summer, and this is more directed at our faculty and staff here on the summer. The Daily Brief, which is a daily publication that comes out electronically by email and gives you an up-to-date feel for what's going on around campus, meetings and events, stuff like that. Near the top every day is a little 1 or 2 line weather forecast constructed by none other than you and me. So
that's correct.
I usually take care of Tuesdays and Thursdays. You take care of Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, unless you or I ask each other to fill in for each other. So.
Mm-hmm. And I'm always amazed by walking across campus like, you're Dr. Davis. You're the one that does the weather.
I get the same thing.
Brief. I'm like, yep, that's me.
I get the same thing. And it gets really crazy when there's a storm coming because then everybody's like, oh, you're the guy on the brief, so you got to know what's going to happen with this snowstorm or whatever that's coming up. So.
And then you make the forecast and it doesn't pan out.
Of course not. Or like back in January, like I severely underestimated that snowstorm. We both did.
You and me both. Yeah.
I think everybody did. I don't know anybody who nailed that one that well.
Yeah, I think the maximum they were calling for was like 18 inches or something by Reading, and then they got pretty much double that.
Well, that was our one big event of that El Nino winter. So, well, enough focusing on the past. Let's focus on the future. And I just wanted to have a little bit of fun here because back in April, remember we had that really gorgeous stretch of I think it was like 9 straight days of sunshine.
Yes.
And it was really, just a beautiful, beautiful stretch. And we're going to take you back to our last weather and climate chat. I'm going to play a 12-second clip of something that I said on our last event that has haunted me ever since. Let's get our flashback sound effect. This kind of pattern always does concern me, though. Whenever we have like weeks and weeks of nice weather, it does make me a little worried that we might get stuck into some where things kind of get stuck, and we could have 7 days of showers. You never know. So I said it, and now look what we've got.
Button your yap next time.
I don't see any sunshine for the next, well, we might see a ray or two here or there, but I don't see any decent sunny days for another good, 6 days?
Yeah. I saw this morning, it looked like the rain threat was pretty much going to stick around for most of the week.
Wow.
Maybe by Friday or Saturday we start to get breaks in the clouds and widespread amounts.
All right. Well, let's look on the bright side of this, first of all. I heard that April was fairly well below average precipitation-wise. Is that true, Dr. Davis?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
We were pretty much below, and we had to thank the Omega block for that a few weeks ago when we had pretty much 2 straight weeks of dry, sunny conditions.
Yeah.
That was half the month right there.
Yep.
So we were below average, I believe, by an inch and a half.
It was
2 inches, somewhere in that
somewhere
ballpark.
like 1.75, somewhere around there. Yeah. So, and if you remember,
depending on where you are, obviously.
Right, obviously. And if you remember, during those 2 weeks, brush fires were a problem.
Yes, we had a few days of red flag warnings for brush fires.
So at least we don't have to worry about that right now.
Oh no, not right now. We got plenty of moisture in the atmosphere. A lot of ground moisture. Low. Sorry. We have a lot of rain in the area, so it's going to pretty much saturate most of the ground, keeping it pretty unlikely for forest fires or brush fires.
Well, that's good. Okay, so we're thinking of the positive first, folks. We get no brush fires to worry about. We're increasing the water table, which is also good since we were low in April. What's causing this stagnant wet pattern right now?
There's a stalled front just to our south. It pretty much passed through the day that we had those 80 degrees and we dropped. I think, when was that? Like late last week, was it?
Yeah, I think so.
I think like Thursday or Friday. That's sticking out in my mind.
Yeah.
But anyway, that front came through.
Right.
And then it pretty much stopped just a little south of us, around Maryland and so forth. Yes. And now we have pretty much these series of low pressures that are just going to be riding along the stalled out stationary front to our south, which is pretty typical because you have that temperature gradient, you have the instability in the region. So you get these sorts of swings, and typically if you're under a stationary front like or nearby one like we are, you're going to get several days of pretty dreary, rainy weather.
Now, this is not all that unusual for this time of year. I would say
not at all.
Yeah, I can remember many times growing up. I remember one particular time in the 90s, I think it was, we had a good 10, 11 days of just no sunshine, and I was like ready to, as much as I like a good storm, I was ready to just run away.
My last year, I was at Kent State for my undergraduate. We had a cutoff low, which is essentially a low pressure system that got pretty much separated from the jet stream and just spins all by itself, and there's no force pushing on it.
Right.
So the week leading up to finals and all the week of finals was just rainy, dreary, chilly, just like today, and it just perpetuated for that period of time, all because of that low simply not moving because nothing in the atmosphere was pushing it.
So you already have a stressful time in your life with finals, and then that makes it a little more stressful when you don't see any sunshine.
Yes, pretty much.
And that's the other thing we should talk about, too. Temperatures are not, I don't want to say greatly below average, but we're chilly. It's chilly. I mean, yesterday, many areas didn't get much out of the 40s.
Yeah, the average high right now is 67. I just checked it.
Yeah,
so we're a little bit below average. It's forecast to be in the low to mid 60s today, probably more toward the lows because the winds generally picking up a little bit from the southeast.
Right.
And the cloud cover is pretty thick right now.
Okay. So we're in kind of a stalled weather pattern now, and it's not looking like a whole lot. I mean, if you wanted to see any sun, there's a little hope around Wednesday. It looks like we have a gap between those low pressure systems riding along that front.
There's a very weak high pressure that looks like it's trying to inch into the area, but it's got its work cut out for it, and I don't think it's going to be very successful.
I've seen the National Weather Service forecast get progressively more depressing. I mean, last week they had Tuesday, Wednesday, partly sunny. Then it became Wednesday, partly sunny. Then it became Wednesday, partly sunny with still some chances of showers. And now it's Tuesday, Wednesday, mostly cloudy with a chance of showers. So it's progressively gotten more, more depressing.
Yeah, and I guess that makes it for an interesting week for meteorologists, too, because now there's something happening in the atmosphere.
Right.
And we feel excited that the atmosphere's doing something today, especially if you go further south today toward D.C., Virginia. They could be in line for some severe
thunderstorms.
weather.
Yeah, I saw that. And it's not totally out of the question that we would see a rumble of thunder around here, but not looking, I don't think our dynamics are too good for that.
Not very impressive. Yeah. And the low pressure that's passing through, at least on Monday and into Tuesday, is going to be pulling that frontal boundary just a little north.
Oh, okay.
So it's going to pretty much transition to a miniature warm front.
Okay.
And generally with warm fronts, you don't have a lot in the way of uplift occurring with them. So whatever air is ascending very slowly. So it's going to be more in the way of this, what we call stratiform precipitation, where it's pretty much that steady rain throughout the day.
Right.
Rather than, say, the air ascending very rapidly, and then you get the chance of thunderstorms.
Right. Okay. So just generally a pretty blah pattern for the coming days.
Yeah.
What can we do, Dr. Davis, to kick this front out? What has to happen for that front to move away and for us to get some nice sunshiny weather in here again?
Well, one of two things has got to happen pretty much to get rid of a stationary front. And one is you either have essentially the colder air or the warmer air get a little bit reinforced in the area and start pushing on the other air mass with a greater amount of strength. So then it transitions from that stationary front to either a cold or warm front, then starts moving and then gets out of here.
Okay.
The other one that we can do is essentially it washes itself out.
Right.
Where you have the cold air and the warm air next to each other, and it's basically through attrition where you have the warm air and the cold air mixing together, and you don't have a temperature change anymore.
Okay.
So in which case there's no front there.
Right.
And then you could actually start to loosen pretty much the atmosphere and get it to pretty much get back to the status quo.
And it looks like for you mothers out there, with Mother's Day weekend coming up, that Sunday might be the first day that we see, well, the Weather Service even still has a 30% chance of showers for Kutztown on Sunday even. So they're taking a little more pessimistic, but at least it says partly sunny as well, too. So
yeah, at least Saturday and Sunday, to me, at this point, looks pleasant.
Okay.
And that should make the mothers out there happy.
All right.
But
Still can't.
Again, Sunday's kind of far out in this case. So.
Still can't rule out the chance of showers, though. So,
Yeah.
So we're stuck in that.
So
for
take
a
it
while.
with a grain of salt, I suppose. But
Yeah, well, that's very true. Let me just see what AccuWeather has for this weekend, seeing if they're optimistic or pessimistic about the weekend. Okay. Yeah, there's still Saturday intervals of clouds and sunshine with a shower, so kind of going with the National Weather Service, and Sunday clouds and some sunshine with a shower possible. So
yes, they're keeping the rain threat in
the
forecast as well.
But for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week, now again we're going way far out of our comfort zone. It looks like partly sunny days with minimal chances of showers. So finally, we might be getting in a better pattern next week, hopefully.
So at least the students and faculty can enjoy the early part of summer break as sunny and warm.
Now, you said the S word, summer. Do we dare to try to... I know we kind of toyed a little bit with some summer prognostications a few weeks ago. Are we getting a little slightly better idea of what summer's going to bring?
At this point, it still looks like it's going to be pretty much on average for precipitation.
Okay.
And temperature still looks to be above average.
Okay.
I haven't seen much in the way of actual monthly outlooks from the Climate Prediction Center, other than that we just got into May now.
Right.
And whether June, July, or August is going to be the warmer month, my gut would probably tell me it's going to be closer toward July and August.
Okay, so a later summer this year.
Warmer summers. I think June will have some warmer days in them as well, but that would probably be more toward the middle and the end of the month. And whether or not we get into the, say, 90s range, I think that'll probably be closer toward the 4th of July time.
So will this dreary pattern that we're getting now with rain, will that help over the summer if we get into a drier pattern? Will that protect against the D word drought?
Well, any water right now would be quite helpful.
Right.
Essentially pushing off the drought. What we're seeing now certainly will help in the short term, and hopefully this continues forward going into the summer.
Right.
We do have a La Nina. Looks like it's starting to develop in the western parts of off the western coast of Mexico.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
And that typically means more in the way of tropical cyclone development in the southeast. So we could be seeing a greater hurricane season down toward Florida and southeast this year.
Which would be a little opposite of what we've had the past few years, where it was kind of a dud hurricane season. Yeah.
And in fact, I think I heard somewhere where, I forget the source, but it was Hurricane Isaac back in 2010, 2011.
Yeah, it was about 5 or 6 years ago.
That was the last landfalling hurricane in the U.S. Now, we had Sandy.
Yeah, I know. People are going to get excited.
But Sandy was not a hurricane when it made landfall.
Extratropical cyclone, right? Yes. People will still tell people on New Jersey coast that, and they won't be happy. It's like, that was a hurricane. but technically it wasn't. I know, yeah. So, wow, to 20... Well, even if it was 2012, but you're even going a year back further to be technical, 2011. So it's been... Or 2010. We have to look
whenever Isaac was.
Yeah, I'm going to look that one up, too, because I'm curious. But the point of that is it's been a long time since we've
been
really...
a while since the last landfalling hurricane in the U.S.
So that is a little bit concerning at the same time, because we are overdue.
Yeah, pretty much letting your guard down. Perhaps some people think that, maybe it's not going to happen.
Right. So never let your guard down. This might be a 2012.
2012.
Yep.
2012.
So August 21st, 2012 is when I was born, and September 1st, 2012 is when
several months before Sandy.
Okay,
Sandy
so it was the same year.
October.
Okay, so it was the same. It was a month before Sandy. Okay, well, a month or two before. All right, so that 2012 definitely was an active year for that, and I guess that was our last real La Nina summer. Is that true? Have to check those stats on that. Yeah.
I don't believe so. I think that was 2011.
Okay.
That's when we had the big tornado outbreak.
Oh, that's right.
Because tornado outbreaks typically happen more northern Central Plains due to El Nino years. I'm sorry, La Nina years.
Right.
El Ninos are typically further south.
So this is a good time of year, when things are a little quieter to prepare your plans. I know recently, was it last week, the National Weather Service had a severe thunderstorm awareness week, one of their awareness weeks where they were reminding people how to... So get ready for anything, since it's looking like it might be an active summer. This is a good time to make sure you're prepared.
April is a good month for getting awareness for severe weather, because that's pretty much signifies the start of tornado season.
Right.
Where typically most tornadoes are going to occur in the spring and the fall.
Right.
Not so much in the summer because of the changing patterns in the jet stream.
Right.
The air masses interacting. generally in the summertime it's all warm.
Right.
So you have a little less favorable chance of seeing tornadoes generally in the summer, but that's not to say you can get very strong convectively based storms in the presence of wind shear, where you're having that wind changing direction and speed with height. So then you can get that turning motion, and then you can get a tornado to develop even in the summertime. But typically speaking, the spring
is the more active period
across the country for tornadoes. Getting back to precipitation here in the eastern U.S., it's probably more closer to drought-like conditions that we might see further into, say, July and August. I think June will probably be pretty equal. But I don't really know if we're going to be going into full-blown drought this year. The climate models aren't really showing that.
Okay, well, that's good.
So I'm going to say that we're going to avoid most of the major drought at this point. But that's not to say when we get closer to summer and we get this long stretch of warmth and dry conditions that may change.
Sure. Okay. Well, generally, you've made some people pretty happy through it. So, see, folks, there is a silver lining, a light at the end of the tunnel, whatever cheesy analogy or saying that you want to use. You know, we're helping the water tables, we're keeping the ducks happy, whatever, and then we're protecting from major drought in the summer, and summer's looking pretty sunny and warm at this point. So, generally, if you can overlook this week, we've got pretty good news for you.
About average precipitation for the summer, too.
All right. So we'll get through May. We'll get through this first week of May and hopefully see some improvement there beyond.
Yes, I would certainly hope so.
Okay. All right. Well, Dr. Davis, good to have you here. And once again, folks, we will be keeping you up to date on the Daily Brief every day, and we'll try to record these at least every other week or every week, whenever we can do it over the summer. So you have a good summer. Get through exam week, and wish all your students the best as well.
Yes, I would agree. And for those of you in my physical geography class and climatology class, you better be studying for my final.
I'm sure they are. At least I hope so. All right, we'll see you next week, Dr. Davis.
All right.